Okay, welcome to another tutorial channel. Today we're going to look at Balena Cloud, which is a container-based platform for deploying IoT fleets. Essentially what it means, you can run containerized applications on various devices. So if you go to Balena Cloud, you can have a little read as to what it does. This is a paid product, but I believe we have a fairly generous tier, free tier. So let's go to pricing. This website is a bit shocking. Okay, we've got sign up for free. What does that mean? 110 devices included. If you spend, wow. Okay, prototype, 30 devices. I believe your first 10 devices are free. So just log into dashboard. And the way it works is you create a fleet. So fleet is a group of devices that run the same application. They don't have to be the same hardware. They could be different hardware, from Intel-based machines to Raspberry Pis, BeagleBones, Orange Pis, etc. We're going to have a look at this. Right. Now a sip of coffee. Let's go. So let's create a fleet. Smooth fish. Sounds about right. That one's, yeah, it's fine. Okay. So let's have a look. Yeah, we've got a bunch of devices that can run Balena OS. As you can see, loads of different things, but we are going to use today a Raspberry Pi 4 using 64-bit operating system. So I'm going to create a fleet. I'm going to add device. So this is what I need to do. Got Balena OS. That's production enterprise, fine. Development, first time users. Okay, let's do that. We can also follow the getting started guide. Let's look at that. Let's use the Python application. Okay, well, what do you need? Raspberry Pi, SD card, we've got that, USB-C cable, power supply, Balena account. We have that. Create a fleet, great. Got that other device, and download the OS. Okay, it says download the OS. Let's do Ethernet only, because that's what I've got here in my lab. And let's download the file. Download it over here. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's gonna take a moment. Okay, we're gonna do development only, which is what we're going to do. Download the OS, provision device. Provisioning device means writing the OS to the flash card. I already have that plugged in. I'm not going to use Balena Etcher. Etcher is one of the applications that you can use for burning or flashing the image files to your USB devices or SD cards. I'm not going to use that. They're basically all the same. I'm going to use Raspberry Pi Imager. This one here. I prefer it. I already have it installed, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. So let's wait for that to download. Is it finished? Yes, finished. Start. Let's go to find the downloads. So unzip it. We got the image just under a gig. Okay, not too bad. So let's go back to Imager. Okay, choose device. Raspberry Pi 4. Choose OS. We're going to use a custom image. And this one here. Open. Storage. Let me just unplug the storage and plug it back in. Okay, yeah, that's the one, 64. Would you like to apply? No customizations. Should you want to continue? Yes, okay. So this is going to, I'm just going to punch in my password. Okay, this is going to flash the OS. While we're waiting for that to happen, let's carry on with the user guide. Okay, so we need to log in a terminal. I already have the command line tool installed, I believe. So if I top quarter, top right. Hold it. Okay. So do I have Balena login? So look, I should open the browser. Web authorization, yes. Okay. Authorize. Done. Okay. Okay, so we authorized. How's the flasher doing? Oh, it's verifying already, so it's not too bad. It's quite quick. It's only a small image. Card is quite fast. Let's wait for it to verify. Okay, so we logged in. We authorize create a fleet. Or maybe we already have a fleet. So fleets should, smooth fish, which matches our dashboard here. Okay, first fleet. Okay, I'm gonna clone this project. So what is this project? Okay, download the project. Let's do that instead. That's already there. Downloads. Let's unzip it. Project. This one. And let's just delete these two files. Okay, let's delete this. And delete this. Okay, we got some stuff in here. I'm gonna explore in a second. So in the meantime, let's go to downloads, and Balena, this one. Okay, clear the screen. Well, how are we doing on the flasher? Start continue. Great, that's done. Close this down and pop the SD card into the Raspberry Pi. Okay, chair's a little bit squeaky. Okay, right, so the Raspberry Pi is on. I've powered it up. It should start coming up here. So let's just close this down. They should pick it up as soon as it starts booting up. So let's wait for it to start and provision itself. It won't have any application on it, but it should come up in our dashboard here. Just gonna give it a little refresh and see what happens. It might take a couple of minutes to boot. Just a little check. Yep, still flashing. So refresh. There it is. So we got a device. Let's just maximize that. That's not what I wanted to do. Maximize it. Okay, so we've got our device. It's online. You can see various aspects. You've got a local IP address, etc. So let's just get on with the started guide. So if we do Balena fleets again, just remind myself, smooth fish is the name of a fleet. So if we do Balena, push, smooth fish, and what's gonna happen? So I believe this is pushing the code from my machine to Balena servers. There will be a build that will get kicked off, as you can see. This is just bread and butter Docker stuff with some optimizations, I believe. They also, I believe, have the way they do updates on Balena. Is that, let's say, if you push a new version of your application, it will write it to a B partition, tell the device to boot from the second partition. Upon reboot, is going to start from the other partition. So if there's ever a problem with the application, you can always roll back to the A partition. So it's like a two-partition system where the updates are applied to the other. The device tries to boot. If it fails to boot, it reverts to the previous partition. Okay, so that was pretty quick. I mean, it's a small application, so, but still, my prior experience of this was a little bit more complicated. But then it all depends what you got in your Docker file. So if you look at here, you've got a Docker compose file, there's a Docker template. So there's not a lot running in here. Yeah, it's Balena Hello World. Okay, so what do we have in the Docker file? Capital D. Yeah, just copies the files across. Yeah, and installs the requirements. So it's not a lot. Anyway, so we got it installed. There's a unicorn thing. I don't know what happened. What happens? And now, if we go back to our fleet, here you go. We got the name of the application that we're running. We're tracking latest, so you can also control releases, and the device is updating. So it's automatically pulling that application from here. And some sort of public IP address, MAC, etc. Can't release, target release. So you can see that's already on the latest on a target. You've got some coordinates, which is interesting. Temperature, CPU usage, storage, memory usage, etc. So you've got some things. And then they gave it a device name, average T. Okay, doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is running. So what does the guide say? Let's just move this to the side. Okay, and downloads it. Everything is running. So let's enable public URL on this device. So turn it on, and that should take us to believe to that application. There it is. Hello from Balena. Okay, so that's cool. That was quick, wasn't it? I mean, in 5 minutes we have a Python application running here, which I believe is Flask pushing a template, some links. Great. What else do we have? Developing the project says, okay, let's switch to local mode. So local mode allows us to push the code to the device and run the build on the device, not on Balena servers. So that's why we need the development version of the OS when we add a new device, so we can actually do that. I believe that's what it says. So let's have a look. Let's try to make some changes. The project can be modified and pushed again using the same method as above, but since we are using a development version of the OS, we can enable local mode and push directly to the device for faster deployment cycle. So instead of pushing to the server, to their servers, let the build happen there, then the device pulling from their servers, you can do that locally. Okay, so let's copy the local IP address. Summary, there it is. Let's copy that, and it tells us to go to push to that IP address. So let's make a change. Let's make a change. Welcome to Balena. This is not a tutorial. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Okay, we got that. We go back to terminal, and we do Balena push, and we've got the IP address and what's going to happen there. Okay, so starting the build directly on the device, which is quite good. What's interesting is that this should still be quite quick. One, you don't have the network latency, but it depends on the device itself. So if you go really old Raspberry Pi, I think Balena can go down to Raspberry Pi 2, I believe. Or if you haven't got a lot of RAM, maybe that build could take a lot longer, potentially. But this is already running on a thing. So if we just refresh this, this is not a tutorial. We can also go to that IP address. And now we're not talking through the public URL, which I'm going to disable now because we don't need it. We can look at it directly. So this was fairly easy. Okay, what else can we do? And now let's have a look at the device statistic here. Let's look at the fleet. Fleets, small fish. Okay, what do we have? Let's just maximize that. Okay, so we've got target release development, right? So release policy is default. That means it's going to track the latest release. Okay. What does this do? Yes, that's fine. That's what happened. We changed it. Great. So now we can push our application directly to a fleet. Okay, so if we do Balena push smooth fish, so something that I don't like is we haven't committed those changes locally because it's not a Git repository. And I believe the push doesn't rely on committed changes. So we'll push whatever the current working tree is. I'll prefer that we only push what's already committed to the tree. Not ideal, but hey, something that you have to remember. You have to be disciplined. If you're version controlling your application, you have to do it manually, so to speak. Okay, so that's great. We've got that. So what's happening in our little dashboard? Yeah, let's maximize that. Okay, releases 7 minutes ago. Let's just refresh this. What's happening here? Okay, you can see we've got local mode in there. So it's not going to pull the latest change. Development. Okay, so let's just disable local mode on this device. Settings. Local mode off. Summary. Okay. So something's happening. It's downloading an image from Balena. So smooth fish is the thing. And what does it say now? Okay, we're online. Right. So we got current release. We're currently on 203. We made a change. So there's a difference between the latest build and the previous build. And it says target release is revision 1. So it kind of version controls automatically for you, but it would be better if it tracked your Git. And somehow, I'm sure you can hook it up somehow and link it to GitHub or GitLab or whatever you got. Okay, so now it's downloaded the latest release. It's not in local mode anymore, but should still work locally. Yeah. So that still works as expected. Great. So push to devices. Okay. So this is great. This is really cool. Much better experience than what I've experienced before. I've got a bunch of information about this. We got policy. What else can we tweak on this fleet? So obviously we can change the name. We can enable support access if you got some issues. Balena can log into your devices. Pin to release. So you can track latest, or you can pin it, and then you can manually update devices to release. So let's say we do pin to 203. Okay. And what's happening here now? We got a device, and we should see that's running this, but it targets 203. So 203 was the version without our change. Okay. So let's change the release. How do we do that? Current. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. But what? How do I force it to go back? Oh no, it's downloading already. Okay, so it's going back to 203. Okay. So let's do that. And in the meantime, I'm going to go back to code and change something. This is not tutorial. Let's do H2. Your device is up and running, so that's about right. Okay. Help from Copilot. Right, so now if we go back, let it sort itself out. So it should run the 203 release without the change. So if we do 192 this one, yeah, no changes here. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the terminal and do Balena push smooth fish. So now this is a different change. So I'm pushing. It should create another revision. I believe revision 2, hopefully. We'll see. Okay, so what's going on the fleet level? The device is, yeah, revision 2 is in progress. So how does it get the version? Is there a version file in here? There's a version file here. Okay, so you could link it. You could link it to your version control. You could bump the version automatically through some script, and it will reflect that change here. Okay, so there's some logic to it. Okay, so we've got that. That's pushed. We've got revision 1. Let's just refresh this. Oh, the list of releases has not. Yeah, here you go. Less than a minute. Revision 2. So now, if I go to my devices, I can pin to a release. Yeah, so, okay. So pin to a release, track latest. I will do this one. So you can see how this is super flexible, because if you change the policy to not follow latest, you can then have different devices running different versions of your application, and you can soak test your code this way. Very easy. You can have a whole fleet of these devices. I believe last time I checked, you can have up to 10 devices across your fleets for free. But I did say that you can have multiple containers running on the same device. So if you're doubling containers, you could have, I don't know, a little Intel NUC or something like that with few cores running several Docker containers doing, Home Assistant, Pi-hole, whatever else you want. There's a bunch of applications that you can run on it. Anything that runs on Docker and runs on the device that you're trying to use will work fine. You might have to follow some specific way of organizing your Docker file for Balena, but it should just work. So we got that. So what's happening to our device? It's running now to revision 2 and it's pinned. Here you go. Device is pinned to specific release. Great. So if now I refresh this tutorial, device is up and running. Great. So we cracked that. So that worked really smooth. I mean, this is cool. This is cool. So now if I change the settings to, let's say I pin to release this one. Okay, well, what's going to happen to our devices? Because our device was pinned. So this is, so the device can be pinned and the whole fleet can be pinned to a specific release. Right, so if we do settings, pin to release track latest, let it be managed at the fleet level, and it's downloading the fleet pin, which was revision 1. This is what we done. Okay. Let it download, and we've got the releases here. So can we potentially purge them? As you can see outside, this one is marked as default because this is what we pinned our fleet to. Okay. It shows you statistics, how many devices are using it, any known issues, notes. Okay. So can I delete something? Can I delete this, for example? Modify. Okay. What's validation status? Valid, invalid. Okay, I don't know. Suppose you can mark it if you've validated the release so someone else can use it. That's great. So what's going on with the device? It's running revision 1. So if we refresh, this text should disappear if I remember correctly. Yeah, cool. All right, so that was a quick look at Balena Cloud. Pretty cool service, I think. Give it a try. I mean, as I say, 10 devices are free. There's no limits as to how many containers they can run. See how you get on. I really like it. I might actually use it to run my home lab that I'm currently running on a NAS, various, services, and see where it takes me. This is pretty cool. Right, nice one. Till next time.